original way.
What's the truth? Oh my God.
And you know you could. Hello everyone and welcome to Ballroom the Basics. My name is Hausvrau B. Poderosa, the empress of the House of Poderosa, and I'm here today to tell you a bit about the HERSTORY of Ballroom. But before, I'm gonna tell you who I am and why I'm doing this. So as I said, my name is Hausvrau and I go by the pronouns she, her, they, them. I've been in the ballroom community for about a year and a half now, and my main category is face. I also do a little bit of runway, vogue femme, and sometimes I try sex siren, but mainly face. Ballroom is very important for me. It is a place where I can feel safe among other queer peers of mine, and where I can really feel seen and understood. And now I'm gonna tell you why we're doing this. So the House of Poderosa was invited by Zürich Tanzt to host a ball. How exciting. Still online because of the pandemic, but we're hosting a ball on the 22nd of May, but you have to send your videos before. But we wanted to give you a little bit of insight into what ballroom is. So that's why I'm here today to tell you the HERSTORY of it. And there will be next videos to tell you more details on each category and everything ballroom that you need to know. Shall we get to it? So, ballroom is a culture that started in the Harlem, New York, around the 70s, which was a need to step out of the drag balls that were already happening at the time, but were very white and cis male dominated. So ballroom was created by Black and Latin female presenting women. So, ballroom started in the 70s in Harlem, New York, and it happened as an emancipation from the drag balls that were already taking place at the time. But lots of trans women, and especially Black and Latin trans women, didn't feel seen. They needed to break out of it and create their own space, which became what we know today as ballroom. And this is because they wanted to create a space where they would not be discriminated as they already were in society. For that reason, the main categories at the time, and still the biggest categories we have up until today, are realness categories. To be real meant that you could pass on the real word. Let me explain. For example, if you had a businessman category and you had a Black gay man participating in that category, he would have to pass as straight and white. So, however he would be dressing, he would have to look so masculine that you wouldn't think he was gay. And he would also have to present so fancy that you could actually see him in one of the big buildings in Manhattan. This idea of realness comes a lot from the stereotypes that we had about one thing or another, but especially from the ideas we got from the fashion world. That's why the dance style is called Vogue, because of the magazine. So those realness categories were presented as runways, which is already relating to the fashion world. And from that, we got the runway category and another very famous category, which is face. The runway category would be more of a fashion show. Face would be more of a photo shoot. But then the poses that people would be showcasing on runway categories became more and more dynamic. And then it became more of a dance performance, which we now call old way. At the time, that was the only style, but now we call it old way because others developed from it, like new way and vogue femme. Besides that, we also have other categories like sex siren, hands performance, bizarre, labels, designer's delight, which is also very related to the fashion world. And realness was very important back then, especially for the survival of the houses. But Hausfrau, what's a house? A house is a group of people that come together to form a new family. Mostly back then, but still up until today, many of those houses were formed by people that were put out of their biological houses because they had biological parents who were very queerphobic. So those people would live on the street. And then they would connect and come together to have a ceiling over their heads. The houses normally had a mother and a father, or just one of them. And those will be the people deciding who would join their house and who they would take in to shelter, take care of, and educate. And when I say educate, it's not only in ballroom related things, but in life things. Things about sex life and diseases, because that was also the time of the AIDS epidemic. Those are things that the biological parents would not talk to their queer child about, but your ballroom parents would. But Hausvrau, you're talking about the houses, you're talking about the categories, but how does a ball work? Well, for you to have a ball, you need to have judges. This is very important, because after all, we're all walking to get a grand prize. The judges, normally 3 or 5, are a panel of people that are recognized already in the ballroom scene, or that have been doing community work not directly related to ballroom, but that somehow speaks with it in the sense of working for our community. Besides the judges, we also have a host who will present what's the next category, who will present the judges, talk to the people around, who could also be the commentator, who is the person emceeing during the categories. But also, you need music. And that's when the DJ or DJ comes in. They're the one bringing the beats and bringing the heat. So that's what you need in a public. And then, when the ball starts, you have the LSS, Legends, Stars, and Statements, which is a presentation of people who are known in the scene and that are present on the ball that day. They're probably going to be all the judges, the people that are organizing the ball, and some up-and-coming people that are just participating as walkers, but that you know they are gonna deliver. Then once you have everyone there, the legends, stars, and statements were presented, the category starts. In a category, it's very simple. First, you have to walk alone, be it runway, Vogue Femme, face, sex siren, or any category. You have to go get your tans. That means you have to present yourself and show the judges that you have enough to go on. If all judges give you tens across the board, then you're on to the battles. If someone gives you a chop, then you're out. Once you're in the battles, you're going to be paired up with other people who got their tens. And then you go battle, 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 all the way to the final battle. And if you win that one, then you take grand prize. Yes. And of course, at the end of the ball, once everyone got their trophies, we're gonna kiki a bit. But now there's a couple things that I want to be really reminded from this lesson. First of all, how can you support? If you're really interested in ballroom, if you heard everything I said and you're like, I want to be a part of this, research. Really look for people that are doing the work and looking for the source of ballroom. Because ballroom sometimes is taken as only a dance style, Vogue, but it's much more than this. It's community. It's coming together as queer people, as marginalized people, as Black and Latin queer people. So please, do your research. Once you did that, the people you find, and we're gonna have lots of recommendations in this series of videos, support them if they're giving a class, if they're gathering money for a project. That's where you can do the work. Give them a platform if you can. Hire them for jobs if you can. Give them the recognition. That is a great way to support. So I hope you got a lot of information here, but if you want to find more, the internet is a great place to find information. There's amazing documentaries for free on YouTube. I would really recommend one called Legendary, 30 Years of Philly Ballroom. Love it, amazing. And the movie Kiki by Twiggy Pucci-Gerson. It's also incredible. So go take a look, support your local ballroom scene, and remember, this is the house of Black and Latin femme-presenting people. So in there, they are goddesses. Outside of there, they are also goddesses. So you better respect them and celebrate them. See you on the next video, and see you at the ball. Bye.